Retrieval-Augmented Generations (RAG). RAG systems enhances the large language models by helping the models and providing some of the information and the data which is not already in the initial training of the models. That's by pulling some of this information from outside sources, let's say internet, Wikipedia, any data sources, database, or whatever you are training this RAG systems on. By this way, that will enhance the response which will be generated by the large language models. In the following presentation, we will get ourselves familiar with the RAG systems, the structure of the RAG systems, and the workflow of the RAG system. So let's get into the presentations to have overview of how RAG systems works in cooperation with large language models to enhance the responses by updated information or some information related to your business model. Let's do that. Fine. So let's get into our presentation to check how the Retrieval-Augmented Generation works. So let's first get into how the model constructed, what the model consists of. First and most important is the user prompt. It is the original query or input from the user, you for example, guiding the large language model to understand the requested information. Then we have RAG systems. It is a complex system that combines information retrieval with generative models, retrieving data from a knowledge base to enhance language model responses with a specific domain knowledge or up-to-date information, for example. Then we have the prompt constructor. It prepares input for the large language model by combining the user prompt and retrieved context, also adding additional instructions or metadata to guide the model response. Then we have the large language model. It's a main language model like GPT that generates responses based on the constructed prompts. Let's check what already RAG system consists of. It's consisting of retriever. Retriever processes the user prompt, performs a semantic or keyword-based search, extracts relevant documents, ranks them, and filters useful information, often using AI models for vector-based embedding. Then we have data sources. Data sources are different, is where a system retrieves raw information, is not processed, such as documents, databases, server, or internet content. Then we have the retrieved context. Retrieved context is where a system retrieves raw information and then is a concise and most relevant data extracted from sources, then tailored to fit the large language model's limited context window. Now, after that, it's time to get into the workflow. Workflow started by the user prompt. User send a request to the RAG systems, also to the prompt constructor. But the prompt constructor now, it will be waiting a bit until the RAG system finalizes the context. Then within the RAG system itself, we have the retriever. Retriever will communicate with the data source, regardless of what that source the retriever will communicate with. Then we get a response from that data source with a lot of information. It's called raw information. Then the retriever, with the cooperation with the retrieved context, will concise this, enhance this context, and making sure that the context received after the retriever, it will be exactly related to the topic or the input, the prompt which you sent. Then the retrieved context will send that to the prompt constructor. The prompt constructor will construct what is the most relevant prompt to the artificial intelligence or to the large language model to process. Then it will send a specific model, because now there is no need for waiting. The prompt constructor will send that to the large language model, will send all the context together, and the large language model will process this prompt, then generate output or response. That's how the workflow. Why RAG is sometimes very important, because RAG in fact is working in a similar way. If you prompt, let's say you ask for something, some information, but you have the original LLM not trained, or you have the cutoff date of this training in 2023. So the RAG system could have more relevant information and updated one. So the RAG will get the most updated information, construct them, give them to the prompt constructor, with the most updated one and then associating that with a large language model. After that, you will get updated response based on this combination. Or let's say that you have your own project and you train this RAG system on your own specific domain. After that, you ask the RAG system for this specific information. The RAG system will construct them, concise them, build them, send them to the prompt constructor. The prompt constructor will construct both prompts and send it to the large language model, then giving you a most relevant response to your request and also still up to date. So RAG system is a very complex, it's not a simple system, but it's really useful and helpful, and it could add more updated information which initially your LLM not trained to access them. Hopefully that quick introduction was helpful. If it is, please share it. As you remember, as we say, the charity of knowledge is to share. Thank you so much for your time.